The Story of Nigrodhamiga. The Buddha told this story while residing at Jetavana, and it was about Venerable Cumarakassapa's mother. When she was young, she was a devout believer in the Buddha and Dhamma, striving to overcome her desires and distinguish herself from bad deeds in order to achieve enlightenment. Due to her devotion to the enlightened path, she did not aim to get married. However, her parents insisted that she do so. Ultimately, she accepted her parents' wishes and married a young millionaire, as she did not want to cause them suffering or disappointment. After her marriage, she continued to live simply and did not embrace family life. Soon after getting married, she became pregnant, though she was unaware of it. Recognizing her devotion to Dhamma practice over family life, her husband was supportive of her goal of becoming a Buddhist nun. After her ordination as a nun, she was diligent in practicing Dhamma, but trouble arose as her pregnancy progressed. As time passed and her pregnancy became apparent, she was expelled from the Sangha due to suspicions of having engaged in sexual relations, which is one of the major principles of monastic rules. Before being completely expelled from the Sangha, she insisted on meeting the Buddha. There, the Buddha confirmed that she was pregnant before her ordination through an examination involving 4 groups of his disciples, including King Pasenadi and the well-known Lady Visakha, as well as monks and nuns. She was then declared purified and allowed to retain her status as a nun. When the time was right, she gave birth to a child named Cumarakassapa, who was nurtured by King Pasenadi. When Kassapa was 7 years old, he ordained with the Buddha, and through his diligence, he ultimately achieved arahatship. As the story of Cumarakassapa and his mother was captivating, one day the monks gathered to discuss it and praised the skillful and miraculous wisdom of the Buddha. To encourage the monks in their practice, the Buddha told them a story. Once upon a time, in the kingdom ruled by King Brahmadatta, the Bodhisattva was born as a golden deer, with silver horns, enchanting eyes, red-tinted lips, polished toes, and a body as large as a buffalo. The Bodhisattva was called Nigrodha, and he was the leader of 500 deer. Not far from the Bodhisattva's region, there was another deer named Sakka, who was the leader of another 500 deer. At that time, the king loved to hunt, especially for deer meat. He often sent a group of skilled soldiers into the forest to hunt deer. Whenever the king went hunting, he killed too many deer. The Bodhisattva observed that he could not lead his deer to safety, so he negotiated with Sakka to take turns sending a deer from each group to sacrifice to the king for the survival of the others. With Sakka's approval, from then on, each day a deer, whether from Sakka's group or Nigrodha's group, had to go to the place where the king often hunted. One day, in Sakka's group, a pregnant female deer had to go to sacrifice her life as per the agreement. However, since she was pregnant, she asked Sakka to allow her to be free from this duty, but Sakka denied her request. She then approached the Bodhisattva to explain her predicament. With sympathy, the Bodhisattva allowed her to be spared, and instead, he went to the king's hunting area, intending to sacrifice himself for the survival of the others. Seeing a beautiful, large, and energetic deer that did not flee from danger but stood quietly, the king approached him. The Bodhisattva explained to the king the fears and suffering of the deer in the forest due to his desire for deer meat. He also explained why he and the other deer did not run away, accepting death for the survival of the others. The king, feeling sympathetic and nurturing compassion after hearing the Bodhisattva's explanation, imposed a ban on killing deer throughout the kingdom. He also prohibited the killing of wild animals and fish in the forest. As a result, all the animals, birds, and fish in the forest were able to live fearlessly, and the pregnant deer eventually gave birth to a charming fawn. After the king's ban on killing deer, the deer felt safe enough to enter the villages and eat the farmers' vegetables. When the farmers could no longer bear their frustration, they informed the king and asked him to lift the ban. However, the king did not side with the farmers. Instead, he sought the Bodhisattva for a solution. The Bodhisattva advised the deer not to enter the villages and eat the farmers' crops. He then lived peacefully with his deer until he died calmly. After telling this story, the Buddha spoke about the Four Noble Truths, and then he revealed that in the past he had also solved the troubles for Cumarakassapa and his mother. He then clarified that the golden deer was himself, the Buddha, and the pregnant deer was Cumarakassapa's mother.